Whew. I'm here to tell you, I've been waiting on this for a while.
Have you now?
Been waiting. All right, there we go. Here we go. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, it is a special Gathering of Old Men podcast. 2 men strong, one on the way, one featured guest on the way. Tonight, for your personal pleasure, MEAC Mike is coming through to tell us his views on the state of HBCU. Again, I want to thank everybody for coming out. It is going to be a good one. It is going to be a good one. TP, I'm going to go ahead and let everybody know before we get into the small stuff. I am Mr. Keep Talking Shit. I'm inviting you on to the show. You're not just going to keep talking the shit. You're going to have to defend yourself in 4K. MEAC Mike, to his credit, said, cool, I'll come on the show. The only other 2 people that have come on the show is Yard Talk and FCS Radio Nation. That's it. Them the only ones that have been bold enough to come on the channel, tell us how they feel. So, again, I want to go ahead and thank MEAC Mike for coming on, letting us know his views on some stuff. We're going to debate a little bit. I want everybody to know this isn't 2 brothers going at each other. I need to hear other voices. Us just being able to hear our own voices for the sake of feeling right ain't never good. It don't solve nothing. So a healthy debate is always good. First off, real time news coming in today. The Florida Attorney General has subpoenaed or has requested documents from the ACC regarding the grant of rights, which is the document that nobody can take out of the ACC offices, and anything pertaining to ESPN, Disney, and the media deal that the ACC has when it pertains to Florida State. Now, for those who don't know, in Florida, we have a sunshine law. So if you have a meeting regarding anything about the state of Florida, whether it's universities, whether it's student activity groups on campus, anything that has to do with the state of Florida is public record. Guess what is pertaining to the state of Florida? That grant of rights that you don't want no attorney taking a look at. What's that attorney? She said, you know what? I ain't playing no more. I'm going to need you to get me them documents, not now, but right now.
Right now.
So keep playing. Y'all going to end up in court. They're going to throw that grant of rights out. And Florida State going to be home free for free. Keep playing with them people. Couple other news. Tyreek Hill. His home caught fire. It was reported today that the fire was set by a child. I got my own viewpoints on, like, y'all need to be paying attention to these kids, old man in me. Anytime a child get quiet, it's automatic, old man. Hey, what y'all doing? That's automatic. So I don't know what happened. I'm glad everybody is safe, everybody's sound, but it's little things like that. We live in Florida. I'm just going to tell you, everything from setting fires to homes to drownings. It is a serious thing in Florida. So please, please, please pay attention to your kids. Oh, TP, why do they want to restrict the movement of players? They don't ever want to restrict golfers. They don't want to restrict tennis players. They don't want to restrict hockey players. It's always basketball and football players. Why? Why is that?
I mean, we already know that there's a fundamental system in place, and I don't want to call it modern day slavery, but they think we don't know no better. They think that we are stuck in this mindset that we should just be grateful for what's given to us. You should be grateful for this opportunity. And in a sense, yes, it is you should be thankful, you should be happy, you should be, all those things. But that don't mean you should settle. At the end of the day, sports is a business. And Black athletes have as much right to that same business as the majority race, or however you want to look at it. We talk about equal opportunities. That's exactly what we mean. Equal opportunities.
Well, I'm gonna say this, and I don't care who don't like it. You are no longer going to be able to launder your ill-gotten gains through college football and basketball. Them days is over. You're gonna have to do it legit. And for places like Texas A&M, they don't care how they do it. They can do it legit. They can do it dirty. They still gonna throw money at players, at coaches, and still finish third in the SEC West. That's just, it is what it is.
I mean, they got, like I said, they got DOD contract money. They don't care. I think A&M is like one of those outliers where we can't really, where they money comes from, we'll never know. It ain't coming from it ain't all coming from the boosters, I promise you. It ain't.
It ain't. I know, you and I both know it ain't. But we ain't gonna get into all that. We enjoy our podcast here. We don't want to be shut down just yet.
Hold on, I think I heard a knock at the door.
So I guess we can talk a little bit about basketball, and them Clippers. Them Clippers kind of look like a basketball team. Old Tubby looked kind of in shape, and
I've heard this story, but continue.
And right now, Kawhi is Kawhi. He looked healthy. He putting buckets up. He has the most fundamental ugly game in the history of the world.
Did we forget about Tim Duncan and where he learned his?
I realize that, but I'm looking at his Euro step. I know what Mano Euro step looked like. Them ain't the same Euro steps.
Nah. It's not. It's not. I mean,
it's effective.
To be fair, Manu is really the person that, he invented it to an extent.
Mano invented the Euro step. It's still a travel. It's just not Patrick Ewing's travel.
Come on now. Are we really talking about travel? LeBron James been traveling for 22 years. And you gonna call what Manu did was a travel? I'm gonna show you an actual travel. The rules say you are allowed 2 steps as you gather. And if you lift off before that 3rd step hits the ground, it is not a travel. So blame the NBA for their rules. James Harden travels on a step back jumper, but we don't call those travels, do we?
I'm trying to figure, do people not understand you don't get 2 gathers? You don't get 2 of them. He getting 2 gathers. And then he taking 2 steps.
No, he's not.
What? It's a travel. He drives.
NBA real said it ain't a travel.
Step back 2. Then he's shooting. It used to be, I'm just gonna go ahead and say this. When you picked the ball up, you was heading toward the rim, or you was pulling up for a jump shot. Pulling up for a jump shot does not mean take 2 steps away from the basket. That is not.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Toward, sideways, backwards. 2 steps is 2 steps.
But James be with.
There's a lot of people that will argue with you that what Shaquille O'Neal used to do was a travel. His little post up where he'll bring that foot down, pivot again. How many pivots you gonna get this man?
You know
So
what?
all these basketball moves, if they fall within the lines of the rule book, blame it on the rules. Don't blame it on the player.
Oh,
If
I'm
it's
not blaming them. I'm most definitely not blaming the player. I'm most definitely. And we got pundits complaining about the lack of defense. This is why I can't defend a dude that get carte blanche to take as many steps as he wants to. You know what? I'm not finna do this. I'm not even finna do this. You just picked up the ball and you just walked to Mississippi. I'm not doing that.
not only that, you're not allowed to put your hands on him either.
We need to bring back the handshake. At least the
Okay,
elbow.
okay,
We need to
okay,
bring back the elbow.
okay.
At least that.
Bring back the hand check, and you're gonna start to see the most dirty screens you ever seen in life.
I'm okay
Because
with that.
how close do you have to get to a person to hand check them, right? Think
I'm
about
okay
how
with that.
close that screener is and how close you got to run to a screener to get away from a hand check.
But
See,
that
the hand check went away for more than one reason. It went away not only because you was impeding the process of the player with the ball, but you're also in risk of taking even harder screens because you can't see it. People's taking knees and elbows to the side of the head, and it's just another level of trying to keep the player safe.
I'm okay with that.
Bring it back if you want to. You're gonna start to see a lot of the old shit that we saw.
Bring
And
back the Davis brothers. Off ball screens. Bring that back. That was some good basketball.
fuck it, bring back Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumars too. They could still play in the NBA today if you bring back the handshake rule. Because they're gonna just put hands on you all game.
Do you know it will be if they brought back the hand check rule, it will be some players that are all stars that won't get off the bench.
Prime Scottie Pippen could lock LeBron James up with the handshake.
I agree. Can we?
Because he'd get right into his body. He would turn him into a jump shooter. No hand check. LeBron going around him. I'm sorry, Scotty. You quick, but you're not LeBron James quick. He's going around him. And I'm talking about both in their primes. I'm not talking, 56-year-old Scottie Pippen now. I'm talking, back in his prime when Scotty was the best two-way defender on the court, going against prime LeBron James, 2006, Miami Heat LeBron James. It wouldn't have mattered,
Nah, it wouldn't. Scotty was different.
But we talking about a difference in eras, and if you look at it back then, a lot of those plays where they called good defense would be called fouls today.
I agree. Since we talking about players and skill,
but before you move on, all I'm gonna say is Kawhi does it without the handshake rule. He should be in that conversation with Scotty. But go ahead.
Yeah. Kawhi is a different defender. He's not of this era. Right. He actually takes pride in playing defense. I would be remiss, since we're talking about players with skill, if we don't bring up broke knee ass Gilbert Arenas. And I hate to be that disrespectful, but I'm getting tired of pulling up Twitter and TikTok and seeing him be the absolute most disrespectful human being, as if he was that guy. He was that guy for 2 seasons. He was him. I'm not gonna take nothing away from him. Them 2 seasons. Oh, he was everything.
I don't even know if it was 2 seasons. It might have been a year and a half.
I'm gonna give him 2 seasons. But what you're not gonna do on Beyonce internet is talk about Gilbert Arenas. Talk about Vince Carter. That's what you're not gonna do. You're gonna call Vince Carter lazy, and then I got people coming at me, and I was wrong. Vince has never been to the finals. I admit that. I got people coming on Twitter talking about, yeah, in Toronto they got rid of him because he was lazy. No, they got rid of him because they could not re-sign him. That's why they got rid of Vince. He was not gonna re-sign. It wasn't because Vince played $1 million in 2 years. Lazy men don't play that long.
Nah, and see, I'll tell you the knack about Vince Carter. He was one of those guys who was always in shape, could always ball. He played a little defense, but he was primarily effective on offense. Later in his career, he developed an elite jump shot, but he built his career on athleticism. But he was man enough to understand that that wasn't going to last forever, and he developed other parts of his game. He just wasn't. Once his athleticism started to fade, he could not be considered the star of the team, which means he wasn't going to take a team to the finals because his other skill sets, they didn't. It's like when let's say your vision ain't that good, but you can hear everything. Well, he got to a point where, his vision, you know what I'm saying? His vision started getting better, but then he couldn't hear everything. Couldn't meet it in the middle. And, unfortunately, he never got to that stage.
We need to be honest. Everybody expecting him and Jerry Stackhouse to be Michael Jordan 2.0. And they weren't.
Yeah. Nah,
Kobe was Michael Jordan 2.0. You can't hold Vince to that standard. It's just not fair.
And I don't know.
It's not fair.
I don't know if he even had that dog instinct in him to close out games. And we got MEAC Mike in the building.
Hey, what's going on, fellas?
Welcome to the podcast.
Hey, what's going on, fellas? How's it going?
How's it going? Again, like I said in the beginning of the show, a lot of people talk a lot of stuff on Twitter, and a lot of them will not come on the show and back it up. I commend you for coming on the show. We've only had 2 other people come on the show. Yard Talk, which didn't necessarily go well because Marlo is so FAMU, and FCS Radio Network came on, and a lot of times people think it's an adversarial debate. It's really not. I don't need to hear myself be right. We got to hear other spectrums of opinion. So it's not 2 black men going at each other. It's literally, I need to be able to sit down and have a conversation, even if we differ with another person on a particular topic.
I definitely feel you on that, man. I just had to take this lunch break to put in some work on you real quick. I ain't come for peace. I came for war. You know what I'm saying?
Clearly, you welcome to the podcast. So, I'm just gonna get right into it.
For all the violence.
Yeah, I am just gonna get right into it. HBCUs, and you are an HBCU alum from the great University of Morgan State.
Definitely.
It has been my opinion, because I've benefited from HBCUs, that HBCUs are not stepping stones, particularly blue bloods. I use blue bloods differently than I do other schools because of resources. And although Florida A&M, as an example, does not have the resources of a Florida State, they do have more resources than, say, an Alcorn State or a Morris Brown, or schools that don't have state funding, and even though it's underfunded, they have more resources than other schools. And I've always said that these schools are blue bloods, and Black national championships matter because these are not pass-through schools. Your opinion is we should be playing all schools in the FCS playoffs. Please explain your viewpoint, sir.
Well, basically, you got to understand, you have Black national champions pre-segregation, and after that, there's no Black national championship post-segregation, Like I said, and before we get into that, what do you consider the blue bloods of HBCU football? Because this is like a great contention, you know what I mean? A lot of people
it's gonna get ugly in Twitter as soon as I say it.
Because there's about 6 blue bloods in Black college football, and 3 of them aren't even given the credit for being blue bloods,
So I've always said Tennessee State, Florida A&M, Grambling State. Then I've said South Carolina State, A&T leaving the MEAC, and to some extent Southern, but it's more because they play that yearly game than anything else.
Yeah, that's interesting. I read a Southern. I think FAMU, Tennessee State, Grambling, North Carolina A&T, South Carolina State. I even have Morgan State as a blue blood that died. You know what I mean? Because prior to the '80s, we were champions. So I consider us a blue blood that died. So those are my six: Tennessee State, North Carolina A&T, South Carolina State, FAMU, Southern, Grambling, and Jackson State. Those are my blue bloods.
So here's what I found to be interesting. And I want to say I'm almost sure it was up until 1984. There was only a 14 playoff.
Well,
in a couple of those 14 playoffs, there were HBCUs in those 14 playoffs.
Exactly.
At some point, it became, hey, we're expanding the playoffs, and no longer are we including HBCUs. Now, for those who don't know,
that's categorically false because the MEAC fought for a playoff bid. They fought for a playoff bid during the mid '90s. For us to have an automatic bid. So you can kill FAMU, the present FAMU, with the old FAMU. So I can kill you with just the old FAMU from the 1998, the late '90s, 98, 99. That FAMU was built for war. Billy Joe had a FAMU that was built for war. This Celebration Bowl FAMU, this is a character, man. This is an avatar, man. You don't have to be good to win a Celebration Bowl. You can BS the whole game and wake up in the fourth quarter and win a championship. That's what the Celebration Bowl does. It stifles greatness.
Okay, all right. Now, what we're not going to do is that. Did you see the USF game?
Yeah, I saw the USF game.
What was your takeaway from the USF game? Because I'll tell you the key moments.
I mean, that USF game was a real good game, a real good college football game. I mean, I think FAMU played extremely well. You had a couple of turnovers that really actually changed the game. But I thought that was a well-played game from FAMU. You're a blue blood. You was playing like a blue blood that day. What do you want me to say?
All right. So let's take FAMU off the board. That very next week, USF played Alabama.
Yeah.
USF played Alabama like they were actually in contention for a top 25 spot.
Indeed.
For the first half.
Yeah. Until the rain delay. After the rain delay, just throw everything out.
Yeah.
It has always been my contention because this is the way they, and I'm going to use they very loosely, they judge other teams. Your opponent's opponent, and how did you play? FAMU at that point played USF better than Alabama did. At that point, I would say, and I forget what week that was. At that point, FAMU was probably playing top 10 football at that point.
True that.
Top 10 in what category though? Like
FCS.
All of college football?
All of FCS. They was playing top 10 all of FCS.
That's really hard to say because football isn't transitive. So it's hard. They was playing good football at that point. I give them that, but like I said, you can kill the CB FAMU with the FAMU from 98, 99. The Pat Bonner FAMU, the JJ Sauter FAMU, they're like 20 times better than this FAMU. This FAMU, because it's a mindset that you have to play in the playoffs, and there's a mindset you have to play in the Celebration Bowl. The Celebration Bowl, you can kill a Celebration Bowl with the director of the Celebration Bowl. If you was watching the HBCU game day when he was on there, he basically said at the 10-minute mark that HBCU football has fallen to such a state that it's no longer competitive for a 3 and 4 game run like you had in 99. So the director, John Grant, of the Celebration Bowl, killed the Celebration Bowl himself on HBCU game day. He basically said at the 10-minute, 12 seconds mark, that HBCU football has fallen to such a state of mediocrity that we can no longer exist in the playoffs. He basically threw in the towel. He basically said, don't even get better. Just come to the Celebration Bowl. What I said, shimmy, bark and spin, Sigma walk, Iota Centaur walk. Just have a good fraternity time. But this is not about football. This is about Freaknik. It's not about football. And the guy
Oh,
said that on HBCU Game Day.
So MEAC Mike, would you agree with the sentiment that HBCU football is top heavy? There's a few good schools, and then the rest are average to below average.
I say there's 4 schools that play at the FCS level, and the rest of those Division 1 teams play at a Division 2 level. That's my opinion. Out of the 18 schools in the MEAC and the SWAC, only 4 play at a FCS level. That's Jackson, FAMU, Central, and like I, being a Morgan man, I'm gonna say we're getting there, because we lost to 2 teams that one team made it to the Final Four, Albany, and another team that we played, Richmond, made it to the second round. So there's really around 3 teams that actually play at a 1AA level. FAMU, FAMU, Jackson, and Central.
okay.
That's my opinion.
And that's sad.
So
Indeed.
That's very sad.
here's where it gets interesting because I'm about to start beating that dead horse. The Celebration Bowl just announced an extension of their contract with ESPN.
God forbid.
There is a $2 million per conference split off of that Celebration Bowl, which goes to the SWAC and the MEAC to be divvied up into each individual team. This is the problem with HBCU football. This is the problem with the resources. We are giving away content for free.
Exactly.
The SWAC contract is 60 grand per institution. If you include the events that happen in basketball, they're getting $4,000 per event. So football games and special basketball games, they're getting $4,000 a piece.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I tell you like this: if they make the Celebration Bowl what the FBS has done with like the Rose Bowl and the Orange Bowl, you make that an automatic bid for HBCU to get into the playoff. It'll mean so much more.
Oh,
Because
I agree with you 1,000%. 1,000%.
Mike, you was bringing up the 90s. So here's what happened. And it happened because of Florida A&M and Bethune-Cookman. The Florida Classic was played on Thanksgiving weekend, the same weekend as Florida State and Miami. I mean, Florida State and Florida. Bethune-Cookman and FAMU played on Thanksgiving weekend. The FCS playoffs started that weekend.
Exactly.
FAMU pushed the MEAC to say, hey, we're going to push this up so we get an automatic bid. All of a sudden, people are now bidding on home games. And if you look at FAMU's playoff record, when they had a home game, they won that home game.
True.
We are at a disadvantage when we have to play. We should have never had to play Youngstown State in Youngstown State. FAMU was the better team.
I remember that game like yesterday. But the thing is, just the way you were built, because you, like the year prior, right? You beat Troy. Then you played Western Illinois. You lost that one. So your mindset, when you have a playoff mindset, is always a continual strive to get better, right? So y'all went back to the lab, did what you had to do, came back in 99 with a whole different mentality. I think if your quarterback didn't get hurt, y'all would have made it to the championship game. You know what I'm saying? So that mentality of a playoff mentality, as opposed to just, a fun party time mentality, is totally different. The CB is just a fun time, man. It's like the CIAA tournament for football. It's not serious, man. Nobody takes it as serious. It's a fun time for an old guy to wear his old fraternity jacket and, throw some hooks up and all that type of stuff, man. Okay. It's not serious football. You know it.
So let's go back, because I think we're confusing. No, I don't think it. Here's what it is. One of the blessings of HBCU football is that it is more than just football, and football purists want it to be just football. HBCU football has never been just football. Tennessee State is not just football.
But post-segregation, what is HBCU football? There's no sanctioned division of football called HBCU football. This is something like I told you on Twitter, mythological. You have Division One, A, FBS. You have the FCS. You have Division Two, and you have Division Three. There's only 4 champions in the NCAA. Anything else is ludicrous, preposterous.
And here's my problem with the whole, HBCU football. Have we forgotten that football as a sport is dominated by Black people?
Indeed.
It doesn't need to be segregated even more as to say, oh, this is a Black college championship. No, it's football. Because most football is played by Black people in this country. That's you can go look the stats up. Most of the league is Black people. Most of the best football players in America are Black people. But then when we segregate it even further down, it starts to get watered down to the point where we're just looking at it based on the school and not for the merit of their talent.
So
exactly.
FAMU, and I have to use FAMU because I do not know every roster in HBCU football. But I know FAMU and I know Jackson State's roster pretty well, and that school in Daytona. FAMU this year has about 3 to 4 late first round, second round players. One thing that I did not realize until today was the amount of talent that FAMU had. Now, did I have some problems with the starting quarterback? I did. He was inconsistent. I don't know what. For some reason, every game, not some games, every game, it took him 2 quarters to get on a heater. Now, once he got hot, he got rolling, he makes plays. But at the Celebration Bowl, I freely admit, 17 minutes left in the game, I got on Twitter and called ball game. He threw an interception. Pick 6. Also, I'm not going to take away anything from that Howard team. That Howard team defensively was good all year long.
Oh, come on, stop. We're not going to let this fly, man. Come on, man. The coaching battle, man. That was a coach against a baby, man. Larry Scott, man, incompetent, no passion, no desire, no fire. Man, the guy is sitting over there in a black vest like he's trying to pose for GQ. No motivation, man. Larry Scott, man, I wouldn't hire him to be a Division III coach. They basically ran 3 plays: a running back screen, slant, and some other, mediocre play, man. That guy, I mean, that was the game in a nutshell. You had Howard, an incompetent coach, and a quarterback who was scared out of his goddamn mind, man. So basically, this is the type of stuff you see in the Celebration Bowl, man. Listen, this is the type of stuff you see in the Celebration Bowl. Now, if you had to take that team to the playoffs, your boy Willie Simmons is going to be like, look, we can't start slow. We can't have a safety. We can't have an interception. We can't have 3 turnovers in the first half and still be in the game. But in the Celebration Bowl, when you're going against HU, supposed to be the number 1 Black intellectual school, but man, they look real incompetent on the football field.
So are you
they're not prepared in the same way as an actual football school.
Are you telling me that the only team that the MEAC has is North Carolina Central?
At this present time, you got I would say 2 on a possible. The possible being us. We saving that we saving that paddle for next year, man. You know what I mean? Hey, that's like I said, man. When we win,
yes,
when we win, man, we treat the Celebration Bowl like going to Dubai on Instagram, man. It's not something real for us. It's just something for us to take pictures with that trophy. And after that, we're done, man. We got bigger, better things to do, man. We leave the Celebration Bowl for swag schools, man.
Wow.
So, I mean, we got bigger things.
The goal is to open up them playoff bids.
Exactly. I agree with you.
That's the goal.
Prior to the breakup of the MEAC, the SWAC and the MEAC both should have had automatic bids. Point blank, period.
I agree.
They should have had automatic bids. And the fact that I am now 51 years old, still screaming the same shit I was screaming as a sophomore at Florida State. There should have been automatic bid.
Speaking of Florida
Insane.
State, they should have got an automatic bid too.
Man, don't even get me started on that. Don't even like that.
But
That gets
the thing is, and before Twitter, before the comment man never really had a say before Twitter and YouTube. So like for me, the SWAC is very archaic in their thinking, man. They don't do nothing for change, man. You got the Bayou Classic, you got the Turkey Bowl, you got all these rituals, and nobody wants to make a concession of moving anything, man, for the better good of the sport, man. Southern, you got two teams, 5 and 6, playing Turkey Day. Man, nobody wants to see them while you eating turkey. Move that shit up like 2 weeks, man, where the SWAC can play in the playoffs, man. We can make the Celebration Bowl the first round of the playoffs, man. Where go ahead.
I was gonna say, and they made that a Thanksgiving Day game.
For real.
Did they not forget that the NFL plays on Thanksgiving as well? Like, if I had the choice between watching, the Cowboys play the Lions or 2 5 and 6 Division II schools, what do you think I'm gonna choose?
The NFL.
Every time.
So here's
the marketing is terrible. The decision making is even worse.
It goes back to the business. We love the game, but the business isn't being handled. And like I said, I'm gonna beat that dead horse. The MEAC and the SWAC are not handling their business from a financial standpoint. ESPN gets off the hook year after year. And don't get me wrong, the CAA, I looked at their contract, it's shitty also when it comes to football. If it wasn't for basketball, that CAA contract would be laughable. Mm-hmm. So it's not just them. But the SWAC is, you had the 14th highest rated bowl of all your bowls, and had the lowest payout of all the bowls.
That's deep.
It ain't just, at some point, that commissioner's office, how you the commissioner of a league, and all 12 teams in your league can go out and do their own individual media rights contracts, and you can't do nothing about it. Because nobody decided to put in the bylaws a true grant of rights. That's why Grambling still got their deal. We cannot continue doing business like this. It's crazy. And I can't even debate realistically on what we should do on the field because the economics, we're not handling the business off the field. And just like the SEC and the ACC, the SEC and the Big Ten, you got to start getting TV people in there to start negotiating these deals. Because clearly the people that are negotiating these deals are going in unarmed and unprepared for the battle they're about to take.
Yeah, that's the business side is I mean, all I can tell you is the Russell contract. Remember, the Russell contract was like a 40-year contract where everybody wore Russell. I mean, so business has always been janky on the HBCU side. So, I mean,
yeah. And then the NCAA president gonna go to the Celebration Bowl and say, yeah, so we're gonna get them the discounts that all the other schools get, so collectively they get the same discounts. That does not bring in money. That is not revenue. That is like telling me I don't have enough money to buy groceries, but here's a coupon. That is absolutely insane. But we take it. And our light-skinned SWAC president will sit there and swag on and smile and all this other shit. We don't like you. And I know I'm going to ask for, media credentials to the media day. So just forget all that. But I'm just saying, we don't really like you. I ain't going to ask you no questions because I know you don't want to answer none. But we don't like you. And next year,
he ain't gonna answer no questions. Don't
ask.
No questions. Don't ask nothing.
I mean, I get what you're saying, Mike. I feel what you're saying.
But I kind of think that, like, I always call the Celebration Bowl on Twitter the cop-out bowl, man. Because it feels like, from what John T. Grant said, he basically said, we're mediocre and, just let's go for the money. It always comes down to money. Every conversation devolves into money and attendance instead of the quality of the play and the product, Even a junkie, man, wants good dope, So as a football fan, you want good football, man. And the only way to have good football, I think, is through the playoffs, man. And that's been always the difference between the MEAC and the SWAC. The SWAC gave up a long time ago. They threw on the flag in like 1999, man. They started doing their own thing. They're basically Wakanda. They do their own thing. They don't care. Once they got a party and some barbecue, they're happy in the SWAC, man. But that was never the MEAC mentality. The MEAC mentality is like, we're going to keep going. If we get smacked, we lose a couple teeth, we're going to come back. So it's just a mentality of being the best. If you don't want to be the best, why play, man? That's just my mentality.
Well,
Absolutely.
I will definitely agree to disagree, but like I said, I did want to hear what you had to say. I thought it was rather interesting, but for me, it's going to always go back to, I can produce you at least 6 good games a season that you can put on primetime TV. That's worth $700,000 a school, those games. Now, I'm going to be very transparent. I've never been to the Magic City Classic. Never been there. The classics that I remember was the Circle City Classic, the classic that they had in Atlanta, FAMU, and the multiple teams they had there. I remember those. Those are the classics that I'm familiar with. And those are the classics that, had you told me, had the internet been as prevalent as it is now, and I found out what they were making then, I probably, as a student, would have protested. And I ain't even a fan. So the money has got to get right. I will agree that some of these schools, as a state, need to go ahead and start playing better football, stop being an embarrassment, and as a whole, the product will get better. But the product that ESPN pays for, they are getting away with highway murder.
But the thing is, suppose the internet hypothetically and Twitter was around in 98, 99. Fam, you making it to the Final Four, you don't think that would have led to greater exposure than this current CB?
Ooh, I hate exposure coins. Don't pay me in exposure coins, pay me.
I mean, but how you expect to get the coins without the exposure?
FAMU is daddy. FAMU won the first FCS championship. Don't pay me in exposure coins. Pay me in money. Green speaks.
Okay. Yeah, this is one kind of like my final point, right? Don't you think it's kind of disrespectful to football that we have Montana and North Dakota State playing in the 1AA championship, right? Who gave them the authority to run 1AA football, man?
Thank you. You're on my side.
Yeah,
if you give these teams from the South home field advantage, watch how it changes. I can show you historically it don't go the way you think it go.
Yeah, because I'm saying, like, when we was coming up, you had your Georgia Southerns, you had your App States, you had you had your Western Kentucky, Eastern Kentucky. See, like 1AA football was always on the East Coast, like the Powers was on the East Coast. Now I'm like, 1AA football is run by North Dakota State and Montana. That's crazy to me, man. That's why I really want HBCUs to go to the playoffs, man. It's just ludicrous, man, having these guys running things, man. Guys with they don't even have 1-star high school players in North Dakota State, and they got 10 straight. That's crazy to me, man.
It is not. We got to call a spade a spade. It is by design. That.
But when we take ourselves out of the playoffs, when we let the so-called man Charlie, give us $1 million to make ourselves irrelevant, you can't blame the system if we partake in the system to kill ourselves. You know what I mean? If Dion had that Jackson State team and they had made a run, or this FAMU team this year, or Central had made a run, that bodes well for HBCU football.
But at some point, when do we have to stop proving ourselves? We've long earned an automatic bid. Earned.
You got to prove yourself when the SWAC is 0-22 in the playoffs and the MEAC is 6-29. I mean, we were good. Like 50 said, you was a man in high school, homie. You know, like we was the man in high school, but we ain't the man no more. You
But
know what
at
I mean?
some
We
point, you
got to go
can't
back and
keep
take our
recruiting.
kingdom.
And
Huh?
again, hit football is cyclical. We know this. Historically speaking, it's cyclical. But the things that make it cyclical is following the patterns that got you there. FAMU this year was the first time, and I'm be the first one to say it. This is the first time since I was in college that they actually followed the blueprint to win. You play defense. You make plays on the outside. Hell, everybody talks about Billy Joe. Does anybody know what offense Billy Joe ran when he came to Florida, before he came to Florida State? He was running the option. He got to Florida State and went to the spread. We're going to spread y'all out. If y'all can't tackle in the open field, it's a problem. And they played great defense. FAMU, for the first time in a long time, was able to
But
spread
that
the
goes
field.
cool. But you can't compare that. What y'all did to the MEAC in '99, man. You was dropping 60 on people, man. It's not, man. Listen, man. You don't wait. That team didn't wait till the fourth quarter to start effing you up, man. They did that from the first quarter on. You know.
I'm speaking strictly from a talent standpoint. And this team coming up, which FAMU, who you hire, is going to be key. But I'm gonna get to it, and I'm gonna say it out loud. And this is personal for me. FAMU, AD Sykes, it's me. It's your boy. You want to fuck him up? You want to fuck him up real bad? Call up Willie Taggart. Call him up. See what happens. That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying. If Willie win one Celebration Bowl, I'm gonna be kicked out the Florida State Facebook group again. They're gonna have a problem with me.
What they trying to bring Willie in?
It would be based on his style of play, based on the talent that they have there, advantageous if they got
Willie's the only black man. Willie's the only black man in American history to fill everywhere and get a job, man. That guy needs to go sit down, man.
Hold on, don't. Florida State is out of there. He did well at USF. He did well at Oregon. And when he did well at Oregon, Florida State decided, you know what? We want to be the guy to bring in the black guy at Florida State. And I was screaming no, because I know my alumni base. And from the day he got hired, I spent the next year and a half getting kicked out the alumni group on a regular basis. Why? Because when people feel comfortable, they say stuff. Nobody ever addressed the fact that them recruiting classes that Jimbo left, them wasn't real good recruiting classes. They look good on numbers, but them offensive lineman was horrible. It took 4 years to get that offensive lineman.
He wasn't building an offensive line for the new system. He was building it for his. You know, a lot of times when you look at recruiting, you know, the old style of recruiting, because, you know, with the transfer portal and all the NIL money we get these days, it's a totally different ball game. But back then, people were building teams for how they wanted to play football. That's not the case anymore, which is why coaches are on such short leashes, because we can just fire you, hire somebody new, and pay players to come here.
And that's the other problem with HBCU football. HBCU football has become something that I do not recognize. But if I go across the street at Florida State, oh, wait a minute. Who allowed y'all into HBCU football? Because that's the mentality now. The mentality now is win now, don't build nothing. Win right now. Do you know the longest tenured coach in the SWAC is 2.5 years?
But the thing, Troy, what you're doing is you're destroying the CB. You're destroying the CB with your words, man. You don't have to build in the CB era, man. You don't need artillery in the CB era. You just need to be average, and you can win a Celebration Bowl. See, in the playoffs, man, like Albany. See, the University of Albany finished 3-8 last year. Then they went back to the lab. They made it to the Final Four. They thought they was the hot shit. They went against South Dakota State and got beat 59-0. So now that coaching staff, the team, they know they got to take it to the next level. See, if Albany was in the CB, they would win a CB easy. You know what I mean? So to build that mindset of being a builder, being like Nehemiah, rebuilding the walls, you can't have that mentality in the CB era.
you got to look at what's your standard. I remember when you was like Florida State has to beat Wake Forest this year, and then that's when I asked you, is that the standard?
And that was my statement to you. After all these years, if you can't beat Wake Forest, you should not be hell. He shouldn't be head coach right now. Let's just call it
but
spade.
that's what I was asking. Like, is that the standard? And you
No,
said
that's
yes.
not.
That's what you said. You said if they can't beat Wake Forest, he shouldn't be coaching. That has to be the bottom line.
Yeah,
now
that has to be the bottom.
when we look at what the SWAC and MEAC have, what is the standard? Where do you if the Celebration Bowl is the standard, then you really ain't got nothing to shoot for, is what I think he's saying.
So
Exactly.
I will say this: Black national championships are the standard, and I
Oh,
think.
stop, Troy. Stop it.
Let me finish. We need to bring back the Sheridan poll, because if you're old enough and remember, the Black National Championship wasn't a bowl game. It wasn't even the best FCS team. It was the best HBCU team, period. Which is why Billy Joe was a monster that he was. Because them Black National Championships he won where he was at. And he put some ass whoopings on some teams that he should have never been in games with.
Man,
There's
but
some MEAC
Billy,
squads up north that know all about it.
Billy Joe was playing with dudes with boxes on their ankles, man. Billy Joe was playing with criminals, and you know that at Central State.
Wow, you just gonna do that? You just gonna do that? You just gonna come on the podcast and do. Wow. Oh man, we just went all.
He had the gridiron gang out there.
Oh my God. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why history is important. This is why I preach history is important. Oh God. I can't let you do that to Billy Joe.
There's a reason I'm a history major. If you don't learn from it, you're bound to repeat it.
Indeed.
But, and again, I want to make sure we get to all these topics. I know we're running a little behind. I absolutely do appreciate you coming on here. We're going to have more debates. We definitely going to have more debates.
I appreciate you fellas, man. I'm going to get back to work.
Sir.
All right,
man. We thank you, man. We thank you.
Have a good New Year's.
You too.
Absolutely.
Oh, that was enjoyable. See, this Molo could learn from this experience. Learn from this experience.
I could have seen that go in a completely different direction. He just said one bad thing about FAMU, and this whole podcast would have got derailed.
Oh man,
we would have been derailed, man. You know, that's facts. But he said a lot of good shit that I understand. When we look at the state, that's why I'm asking you about standards. If the standard is the Celebration Bowl, which is barely competitive, not saying that it doesn't mean nothing about winning it, but it's not as competitive as we would want it to be. We got to raise the standard. We got to make that game mean something outside of just a bowl game. Because when we say it's a Black National Championship, okay, so what is the regular national championship when it's a bunch of Black kids that won it? Does that not mean the same thing?
So, historically, the Black National Championship holds more than just segregation.
Right?
You got schools, and again, I'm speaking more so because the MEAC at that time, the brand of the MEAC was Florida A&M and Bethune-Cookman, even when they didn't win the MEAC. They were always right there. The NCAA football wanted Bethune-Cookman and FAMU into the playoffs. But FAMU had to move their game against Bethune-Cookman. Okay, if they move their game, they're moving their game, they're losing money because there are more people home in that Central Florida area during Thanksgiving than they are the week before. So it is a special vacation trip, and that is the moneymaker game. Remember, they moved that game from Tampa to Orlando because Disney was offering more money. And now you're telling Disney, hey, we're going to take one of your biggest money-making weekends from a clientele that I know you're trying to attract and move it a week earlier. That cost you money. And we did all of that and did not get an automatic bid. If we don't have an automatic bid, what are we doing? And I know I know there are people who wants the Celebration Bowl to mean more, to be more football oriented. It is. The problem is that until FAMU got to the SWAC, the MEAC was beating the brakes off of the SWAC in the Celebration Bowl. It wasn't, as he said, it wasn't competitive because you had schools who had lesser resources winning the bowl game. When FAMU goes to the SWAC, that changes stuff. Once they get acclimated to SWAC football play, oh, now they're in the Celebration Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Had North Carolina Central not lost to Howard in what we should call the Petty Bowl, Florida A&M and North Carolina Central is playing in this game. You don't have that discussion of this game isn't football worthy because you have 2 top 5 teams in FCS football playing in the Celebration Bowl. Now, you got a different audience. And by the way, TP, I was at that game. Everybody talks about the fact that Howard didn't have a lot of people there. You know who had a lot of people there? North Carolina Central. They had bought them tickets real early.
I can imagine.
They thought they was just gonna run through. I mean, it's only 6 teams. Why wouldn't you run through the MEAC? I mean,
but like I was saying, it's top heavy, and then when you're at the top, I say it's lonely at the top.
And again,
so you don't have a standard throughout the year, which in a sense people not gonna watch because.
But they did. That's the thing. People watched. You had
on a higher scale this year as opposed to previous years.
Every year, the Celebration Bowl gets more viewers than the FCS playoffs. They are constantly the top 10, this year it's 14. Remember, they played the Celebration Bowl against an NFL game and still brought in 2 point whatever million.
Right.
Or whatever the millions was. They still brought that number in. And so let's just go ahead and call a spade, because in HBCU football, they love to throw out attendance. I'm here in Tampa. LSU played Wisconsin. Do you know the Celebration Bowl probably had more attendees at that game than LSU and Wisconsin? But Wisconsin and LSU was directly getting more money for their bowl game than FAMU and Howard were getting, because again, Celebration Bowl money goes to the conference. Who the fuck is doing the business? And I hate to be this long on HBCU football, disparaging the head of HBCU football, because I know I'm gonna be asking them for media credentials, but I gotta be honest. I gotta tell the truth. There's no way the SWAC, I don't know about the MEAC deal. Nobody's seen it. I don't know. But that SWAC media rights deal, that's crazy. My paycheck is more than what they get for a football game. That's crazy. There are alumni of these schools making more than the entire conference schools per year. The school is getting $60,000 from ESPN. And you making 100, or you making 70, or you making 65. That's crazy.
$60,000 for an institution is laughable. When tuition is $40,000 a year for each student.
But you want us to move out of the Celebration Bowl, which is going to get you less money once you go to the playoffs.
No. Nobody is saying move out of it. What the thing is, that should be a stepping stone, an automatic bid. The problem is we got North Dakota State and Montana running the shit, and they want the playoffs to start early because they know by the time it get late December, you don't want to play football in Montana.
That's the other problem. There's no. We're gonna leave this subject alone because I'll get into a whole diatribe of why the fuck Montana and North Dakota State is getting first round byes and getting bounced out the first round.
Hello.
I'm gonna leave that alone. All right, man. So the Nets got fined $100,000 for the player arrest policy. They had too many players resting on national TV. Hey, NBA. Y'all know that $100,000 to an NBA franchise is like $25 to me, right? I donated $25 this week to a school.
That's not a punishment.
Draft picks. For the first offense, draft picks.
Draft picks.
I bet you won't do it no more after that. Oh, you lost a first round draft pick because you wanted to arrest Kawhi? They won't do that no more.
Make it. Tag my name on it so I know it's real. If you ain't putting no actual penalty behind it, it doesn't matter. Now, we're not saying over punish because, you know, this great country of ours has a history of, you know, over prosecuting, you know, and punishment is not fitting the crime. But in this case, you gotta do a little bit better when it comes to this. Y'all got no problem giving my man on the corner 5 years for a dime bag, but y'all gonna fine him 100,000 and think that's gonna stop them from doing it again? Oh, second offense is 200,000.
Okay.
Just keep slapping the wrist and $1 million. Okay. We made 20 in revenue that night. Okay.
I'm like, oh,
fine.
A quarter of the gate receipts. You ain't hurt nobody. Ain't hurt nobody at all.
Not with that mentality.
So, college football playoffs happen this weekend. And I want to talk about Alabama. So, before we get there, ESPN, y'all game day show, ever since y'all let Pat McAfee on, y'all just flirt with getting canceled. Jalen Milroe has a line of clothing called Link. Let a naysayer know. Now, you and I both know that might not necessarily be the acronym. And because there are people who are knowledgeable of such acronyms are on the set of game day. Reese Davis was going through his monologue and he went, Jalen Rose has a clothing line, Link. Let a naysayer know. Everybody on that set
started laughing.
Start laughing and tightening up. First one that was laughing and said something was Pat McAfee, because you know he done been in the principal office since he got at ESPN. He the first one. He like, man, I just got this job. Come on, man. And then nonchalantly, somebody, either Dez.
It was Dez.
Said
it was 100% Dez. He said, I saw that go in a completely different direction.
So
really? Which way did you think it was gonna go? You tell me.
There is a 30-second delay for a reason with Pat McAfee on the air. Typically it's 15, but with Pat, it's 30.
They need a whole minute because they took a little bit of time getting cahoots about themselves. They was all out of sorts. It was very unprofessional. Funny for me to watch at home, but
But that ain't the only thing that happened pregame.
It's not.
Michigan coach Sharon Moore was asked about the comments from, oh my God, I can't remember the coach's name now. You know the coach that you hate.
Ryan Day?
No, Brian, what is it? Brian, the old Texans coach.
We don't speak about
Anyway,
Bill.
Bill said that Jalen Milroe should change positions. A reporter, mind you, Sharon Moore is being rolled out as possibly the next Michigan head coach. So, of course, people in PR positions feed reporters questions so they can figure out where they stand with their alumni. All you got to do is not fumble the question. They asked him how he felt about the coach's comments about Jalen Milroe changing positions, and it often happens to black quarterbacks. His response was, I have a white wife. Now, you can take it a couple ways. I took that to mean, why you put me in this position? Bitch, you see I'm at work and I'm applying for another job. Because that's how it kind of came off. Like, hey, I got a white wife. My kids is mixed. There's nothing to see here. I don't see racism. I don't see color. That's what he said.
I thought we was past this.
He just fumbled. This, white people, y'all should be offended. This is basically our version of I got black friends. That's our version of I got black friends. Y'all should be upset. In no way, shape, or form should he be allowed to lead men if that's how he gonna panic. Just because being a head coach ain't just X's and O's. Got to be able to handle yourself. You're the CEO.
Yeah, that was dumb. That was dumb. Your response under pressure tells a lot about you as a person. You can ask me a question and you can stare very closely at my forehead. You won't see a bead of sweat. Because I'm the type of person that stands by what I say. That man looked like he just got out the shower.
This bitch trying to make me lose my job on my day off.
You got fired on your day off?
Oh my God.
Well, what happened? Oh, they asked the question. I wasn't ready. I didn't answer it properly.
Oh, and did not clean it up later on. Did not clean it up. It is still hanging out.
Probably don't even know how to clean it up. Don't even. You know the sad thing that I'm starting to realize? People don't even be realizing it. There's a lot of people that use coded language, and it's not because they're biased or prejudiced in any way. They've just been, what's the word? They've been conditioned to talk that way. It's a societal norm to speak in a certain tone when it comes to racial issues. And they don't even realize it. So then then I'm wrong because I feel some type of way about it. Now I'm the one with the problem.
Mm-hmm.
It's still not fair that ignorance rules the day.
And I want to get to Jim Harbaugh. I do. You know what? Let's get to the game. We'll get into the game.
Let's get to the game. Let's get to the game, and let's get to my favorite running back second favorite running back. I can't put nobody over CJ Baxter. Second favorite running back in college football, Blake Corum, my man. Grown man. You ran a ball like that against Alabama. I can't wait to see what you do at the next level, sir. I can't wait. As a matter of fact, I would love to see you
There
in
you
a
go.
Texan uniform.
Do it.
I'm lobbying for him right now. I'm lobbying. We can get him in the second or third round.
I already got a running back.
I need a running back like Blake Corum in a Texan uniform, and I love Devin Singletary. Don't get me wrong, but we're in a day and age where you need two good running backs. You need two backs. Can't just wear the man out, give him 300 carries a year, and wonder why he lasts 2 seasons. No, we don't need to do that. No, that's the problem.
This is going to become about the Texans.
No, it ain't. This is about the game. Blake Corum, grown man. McCarthy, third down after third down, converting, keeping plays alive, keeping the hope alive.
So
then there's Milroe.
No, I'm not gonna get to him first.
He wasn't first. That's why I went to Blake Corum and McCarthy, because they did what they had to stay in the game. But let's be honest, the lack of an ability to pass the ball cost Alabama this game. There is no way around it. They blew the game.
Alabama's coaching staff had damn near a month to get ready for this game. And the best they could come up with was Little League offense.
Zone read, jet sweep.
Quarterback keeper.
Quarterback keeper.
What? You started the game. 4 straight bombs. Hey, listen, I have said for many years Michigan lacks speed on the outside. I am the first one to admit that. But if they're playing off and you still throwing the bomb, maybe, just maybe, a slant, some crosses, a pop pass.
There was no variety in that offense. It was about as pedestrian as it can get. They tried to win that game based on pure athleticism against a well-coached and almost equally athletic team.
And just so we don't just the offensive coordinator, no, you ain't go. This ain't just by yourself. What defensive coordinator goes 2 halves and not be able to understand if they got tight trips? You might want to blitz the other side. But you got tight trips. They bring the running back to the trip side, and you can't cover it. That's basic football. Hey, you know what? I can't cover this. Let's go to zone and blitz. Football 101. Football 101. I can't cover this. Blitz. And then when you chose the blitz, why are you blitzing the side where the running back is coming from? Why? Now, not only do you not get there, it's a touchdown. What are we doing? And then you fight your way back because Jim Harbaugh is probably one of the worst clutch coaches in college football. You get back in the game, all you got to do is get a touchdown.
They had 2 chances too.
The center has transferred because Alabama fans is Alabama fans. So he is now transferred.
That took 3 days.
Yeah. He got back, unpacked his bags, and transferred. Just let it be known. Y'all call quarterback power, and then said quarterback runs behind the center. See, I got this thing about quarterbacks are not running backs. If you want a quarterback to do a running back's job, go into
running back.
Exactly. But your quarterback did not follow his guard. Had he followed his guard, he would have walked into the touchdown. But because the center snapped it low, he panicked and ran right behind the center. Meanwhile, green grass
so
glory.
they blamed the center for the loss.
Yeah, they blame the center for the loss.
It's a terrible situation for that young man because
He can't play defense.
Let me put it like this. At home, sitting on my couch or my computer chair for that matter, I'm talking to my cousin. Before that last play, I said the defense I would run in this situation, I'm going cover black, hat on the hat, and I'm sending everybody up the middle, and I'm watching for pulling guards, and we're going to contain the outside and at least make him have to score up the middle. They called a play, and I just started laughing. I was like, man, Michigan hired me. I can coach the defense if this is the offense that we're going to play against to go to the national championship. Pay me. I don't need millions. Just give me 6 figures. Give me $100K a year. I'll come out here and coach the defense. Because that was the most pedestrian play call on 4th down to go to the championship game I had ever seen in my life. But I told my cousin, I was like, bro, Milroe is terrible at throwing the ball. There is no way they let him throw it right here. They are not going to throw this ball. They're not even going to try play action. He was like, no. They're going to do that one play where they send the dude in motion, and then they going to fake it, and then they going to try to hit him with an RPO or something. I said, no.
You know what?
Because they called, it was like 2 timeouts. It was like a whole 2 minutes. It might have been a whole 5 minutes in real time of how long it took before they ran that last play. And I told him, I was like, this is simple. They aren't going to throw the ball. Just blitz everybody up the middle and play man coverage on all the receivers and the running back. Tell the safety, watch the running back. The other 3 DBs watch the wide receivers. They probably wouldn't even release a tight end. I ain't seen no tight end Alabama catch the ball all game.
So
it was terrible.
I want to get this straight. Florida State was left out of the playoffs because our quarterback, who y'all said was so good, we had no chance in the playoffs without that quarterback, which means he should have won the Heisman, but I let that go. Y'all kept us out the playoffs for 2 quarterbacks who combined didn't throw for 400 yards. Combined. And it's, you know what? Y'all deserve every low rating you get. Every low rating you get. But I hate to do this because I know TP, we family. We family. I hate to do this. But the second game came on. And I'm hyped. Like, my dog gonna do one for Florida State, get to the championship. The first 4 incompletions for me, I got sleepy. After the 4th incompletion, I lied to you not. Oh man, all of a sudden I'm tired. I done drunk coffee. I said I'm staying up because this Michael Penix is overrated.
Overrated. Let me tell you something, man. He's a good deep ball thrower. I give him that. Outside of that, he's terrible. He was over there praying on that last drive because the ball wasn't in his hands. If he was that good, it wouldn't even have came down to that. Because if that pass was 1 yard lower, it is Texas in the national championship and not Washington. But before all that, Sarkeesian, me and you gonna have to have a conversation about basic ethics when it comes to coaching football. When you have an elite running back, you run the fucking ball. Okay? It's simple. I get it. We got Quinn Ewers. He's shiny. He throws the ball good. He do all that. But the man still only completed 56% of his passes in this game. CJ Baxter and Blue both averaged 7 yards a carry in this game. Our 2 running backs, they averaged 7 yards a carry. Neither one of them had more than 10 carries. CJ Baxter was averaging 7.6 yards a carry in the first half on 7 carries. He got 2 in the second half. My problem with the game is the fact that we just completely abandoned our run game. Washington showed us they could not stop the run in the first half. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You ever heard that before? Probably not. Probably not, because you've done this shit before. These old offensive genius that we have coaching football these days, they forget about basic fundamentals and pounding the rock. The Ricky Williams era, they would have never. Even with Vince Young, our Heisman snub quarterback, we ran the ball. The stars of those games were Vince Young, but we seem to forget that he had an all-pro running back in Jamal Charles he was handing off to. Everybody remember Vince Young, but they can't remember that Jamal Charles was his running back. We led college football in running. In rush yards from scrimmage, we led all FBS schools that year because we used our great running back. In the days of Ricky Williams, we ran the fucking ball.
You know who the offensive coordinator was for USC that year?
Man, Steve Sarkisian.
I think you start shit. Oh man.
You know why they lost? You know why they lost. They got too fancy.
Mm-hmm.
They stopped giving the ball to Lindell White and thought that, oh, we'll just give it to him on 4th and 1. No, motherfucker, we know y'all finna give it to him on 4th and 1. Give it to him. We don't expect you to give it to him, and it might work.
Oh man.
That's my gripe. You know, we had a great season. I'm proud of my boys. We got up to Washington, and then we quickly realized, well, we got to the game because it was, it wasn't that far. We only had to go about 4 hours, 6 hours to the east. But we get to the game, we realized that Washington ain't the rest of the Big 12. They were actual football team. There's a reason they made it to this place. That receiver, what's his name? Romeo, cannot pronounce his last name. Great fucking football player. Michael Penix, overrated, but still good in his own right. Very good at throwing the deep ball, completing passes, and, under duress. I don't know how it's going to translate to the next level, but good, solid football team. And we got a Washington-Michigan national championship. If you'd have told me that shit back in September, I would have laughed in your fucking face. Washington versus Michigan national championship? Really? Really? Them ratings are about to be piss poor.
So a few storylines to think about. Michael Penix Jr. as a NFL quarterback. He has negative ACLs, so his likelihood of being a high draft pick is low, to say the least. Jim Harbaugh.
He's RG3 2.0.
Yeah. Jim Harbaugh has hired a NFL agent who specifically gets coaches NFL head coaching jobs. Was asked what was his plans for the future, and he dodged that like I dodged questions about women in my DMs. He dodged that question. Yeah. So I just want y'all to know a few things. One, the NCAA is going to lay the hammer down on Jim Harbaugh. He know it, and everybody in America know it. He gone.
He's already looking at NFL jobs.
Yep. This is why Jerome Moore is tap dancing on questions.
Absolutely.
Jerome Moore is in the middle of a rollout. He didn't do so well. The next opportunity they get to throw him in front of some cameras, if he does well, I'm almost 85% sure he's going to get the head coaching job. the NCAA, I cannot blame you for how bad these playoffs were. And here's why. There are Group of 5 presidents, Big Ten presidents, Group of 5 commissioners, ACC commissioners, and Big Ten commissioners who did not want an expanded 12-game playoff because they were afraid that it would be dominated by SEC schools. Hey, ACC commissioner, the whole conference just missed out on $60 to $100 million because you ain't want Florida State, or because you ain't want to expand the playoffs. Thanks. Hope you like them subpoenas. Also, it goes without saying, and I know we ain't really in the offseason yet, but Mike Norvell, there needs to be a poster of North Carolina State athletic director on a dartboard where all the players can see it. All off season, when y'all lifting weights, everything. Y'all need to be like Howard last year. Only thing y'all need to remember is how y'all got snubbed. And when you play North Carolina State for the last time in Florida State history, you need to put half 100. And if you score 70, that's fine. I'm cool with that too. But on 4th and 1, when the game is out of hand, you need to go for it. There needs to be a level of petty and disrespect. I don't know what the schedule's going to be. I don't know where they're going to play at. But if y'all play in their field, I am perfectly okay with y'all pissing on their logo. It needs to be consequences and retribution for what has happened to us. On biblical proportions. People's mamas need to be crying in the stands because y'all mollywopping them so bad. It's got to be personal. It's got to be ugly. You cannot let this cannot go to pass. Somebody got to wear an ass whooping. Oh, that's all I'm gonna say about that. That's all I'm gonna say about it. This. But TP, something I don't know if you know, but I went to the Bucks game this past weekend on New Year's Eve, and I ain't gonna say I celebrated, but my quarterback was playing for New Orleans, right?
Mm-hmm.
I knew the Bucks was in trouble when Derek Carr completed 4 straight 3rd down conversions. And in the same game, did not want to be hit. Baker Mayfield is everything we thought he was. And Derek Carr is playing behind the worst offensive line in football. The man is seeing ghosts. I'm not sure why Taysom Hill is on anybody's NFL roster, but yeah, whatever. New Orleans apparently has a tight end who the Bucks can't cover at all. The Bucks blitzed. They sent 7. I ain't saying the man's slow, but if you look at him.
Yeah, you are.
If you look at the man does not look like he is fleet of foot. He looked like he an inline blocker and, catch a few little outs and ends or whatever. Why is he running in the middle of the field like he's not Antonio Davis? He just running in the middle of the field by himself. In the middle of the field. Now, he ain't run for a touchdown, but he ran significantly for a player that size. But the Bucks is going to get into the playoffs and have a home game because in order for them to lose to Carolina, if they lose to Carolina, we're going to need to secure Marlowe, or at the very least keep him away from Tampa International Airport. Because he gonna be a real problem. I wasn't sure at one point, TP, when the announcer said, "Get on your feet, it's third down." Marlo just looked at me. He said, "I'm not gonna stand up for what?" This shit was how you throw a bomb lob to a wide open defender. Oh, Baker. Oh man. Baker Mayfield.
Call those punts where I'm from.
This ain't bad.
That's a punt.
It was
There was nobody in the same zip code.
it was so bad. It was so bad. And please remember, what was it, a week before? Baker Mayfield had a perfect passer rating.
See, I don't think people understand, Baker Mayfield probably is talented. The problem is that he's inconsistent.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem. You don't know what Baker you finna get. He's another Jameis Winston who has that wow factor. You're like, wow, that is a great throw. That was a great play. Wow, I can't believe he even threw that. There was nobody there. What a terrible throw. Wow. It's like he gonna give you that wow factor though. You're gonna get that every week.
You know what?
And that's why they watch.
I think no, I'm gonna go ahead and put I firmly believe Jameis Winston is a better quarterback than Baker Mayfield.
On what metric?
At least he gonna get you 30 touchdowns.
Yeah, with 27 interceptions, go ahead. 27 interceptions and 13 fumbles.
Baker ain't gonna get you no 30 touchdowns, but he might get you 27 interceptions. Shit, he
I can
might
see
do
how
that
that
in
would
one
be a
game.
problem.
And
I
then
mean, I can
listen,
see how that would be a problem.
I know y'all feel like I hate on Mike Evans, but we gotta have this conversation, or at the very least, Byron Leftwich might not never be a head coach in the NFL. Why you throwing wide receiver screens to Mike Evans? Who is he finna outrun? Because he caught a ball in the middle of the field by himself and got ran down from behind. I know y'all want to celebrate him as this all-world quarterback. He is above average at best. He is who he is. Throw the ball up, he gonna catch it. There you go. Problem is when you tell Baker Mayfield to throw the ball up, he may throw it to the other team. So there's that. So it comes down to the AFC East, Buffalo and Miami. Buffalo could be at home for a playoff game, or they could be out of the playoffs. But all they got to do is beat Miami. Miami is everything I said they was. Stop telling me about how good Tua is.
Did you say they were soft?
I did.
Oh, okay.
I did. I said they were soft. I said
that.
Tua was overrated. I said Tyreek Hill couldn't catch over the middle if you put some wood on him. I said all of that. I did not know that all of it would be true. I just thought some of it would be true. Oh, no.
Not to mention their coach is an asshole.
So first off, quit telling me their coach is this Ivy League genius. I've heard him speak in press conferences. He does not come off as Ivy League. racist of me to say, I'm sorry. But I know coaches who came from the MEAC that sound better. Stop telling me he's this evil genius. How come the evil genius can't come up with a physical running play? Why we gotta get cute? Why we gotta pull a guard, have a tight end in motion? All this, dude.
That whole
run down here.
offense is cute.
I kept telling y'all, when it get cold, it's gonna be a problem. Where's that game at? That game better be in Miami. That game better be in Miami. Snow gonna be mad with the world if that game ain't in Miami. Ooh, that game better be in Miami. Check out Steve.
Well, what was the first game at? The first game was in Buffalo. So yeah, it'll be in
Miami.
Miami.
Ooh. You mean tell me? I like Josh over Tua. Josh, he got more moxie. They're playing in Miami. Josh got more moxie. Tua, he just don't exude confidence to me. Against top flight teams, he's just average. But when he play bums, oh, he gonna put up 35 points. He's amazing against bums. And you're supposed to. But you also supposed to beat teams that are on your level. That's part of the game. You can't play the NFC South every week. It don't work like that. But hey, I digress. My Raiders are probably officially eliminated from playoffs. I hope we hire a good head coach. I feel like Antonio Pierce embodies the spirit of a Raider. He looked like he will cut somebody's car in half. I think he's a Raider. But can, for the love of God, we get this man a quarterback. Because as much as I loved Aiden McConnell, y'all know me. It don't take but one Monday Night Football game that you complete one pass in the second half, and I'm through with you. And I don't want...
Y'all ain't had a quarterback since Rich Gannon.
We ain't had a quarterback since Derek Carr. Stop that. We went to the playoffs with Derek Carr. Stop it.
He was never that guy. Sorry.
Fans.
You tried it, though.
TP has residual angst from his brother, David, being
No, I don't. Because if he was a good quarterback, he would still be our quarterback. So stop it.
No, because we hired that. You're going to act like we ain't go through that whole New England episode. I was going to fight the whole squad, even Jacoby.
What that mean?
I'm just saying that whole... We're not gonna act like we had a lead going into the fourth, and the coach refused to give the reigning NFL rushing champion the football. And somehow we lost the game. Oh, wait, because the guy's an idiot. He's never finished his contract. In any way, he drafted Tim Tebow. That shit on your resume should preclude you from any NFL head coaching job ever. But all right, TP. Y'all got to win to get in, right?
We've set ourselves up in the best case scenario. We control our own destiny. At the end of the day, that is the best you can hope for as a team on the bubble going into the last weekend of the football season. Colts are in the same boat, you know. But we're in this unique situation where if the Jags lose, our game becomes the battle for the home field next week. And there's a chance we could possibly be playing each other again. But if the Jags win and we beat the Colts are out. Jags lose, Bills lose, Steelers lose, Bengals lose. If all these teams lose, it don't even matter. We would still get into the playoffs. We won't have a home game, but we would still be in the playoffs. But at the end of the day, what I tell, I talk to my cousin about is basically we have to win this game. We control our own destiny. The playoffs started last week. You feel me? Playoffs started last week. We control our own destiny. If we win every game I told him, I said, look, last week, if we win every game from now to the rest of the season, we'll have a ring. That's all it has to be. You have to win this game. Don't look towards next week. Don't look towards anything past this season. Focus on this game ahead of you. We're not looking at nothing else. Whoever can go, will go. That's all we can do. Can't focus on the people that are hurt. Of course, we would prefer them be out there, but you don't build your game plan around what ifs.
So it's gonna be a slobber knocker.
And it's here. I wish I could go.
It's gonna be a slobber knocker.
And
Fans,
when I say here, I live in Indiana. I'm like an hour from the stadium. I can be at Lucas Oil within the hour.
you might be able to get tickets for cheap.
I'm broke. I ain't got no ticket money. I ain't got ticket money. I got 3 kids money.
I posted on Twitter. I said, if I got 5 kids. If somebody told you I was rich, my kids lied to you. Oh man. All right. I know we're missing one this week. Marlo is working. We had a holiday week, so he's got to make up for the work that he missed. I worked an ungodly sum of hours New Year's Eve. But I got bundle money, baby. I might be coming back, TP. Might be coming back.
Hey, let me know.
When I come back, it might be.
I'll get you set up with a coaching session. I got you.
Yeah. Every week we get into, what we got on our minds. This week I want to thank MEAC Mike for coming by. Again, I've made Fatmouth Sports so the fans have a voice, and today a fan had a voice. So shout out to him. Mm-hmm. That being said, I used to be very uncomfortable being the PWI guy who loves HBCU football. And I've had to grow into the fact that I'm finna be the PWI mouthpiece for HBCUs. Whenever I got the opportunity, I'm gonna speak truth to power. That being said, ESPN is now throwing around money. They've just now renewed the basically spring championships contract with the NCAA. They've renewed the Celebration Bowl contract, which apparently there's supposed to be some sort of raise. I'll get the numbers as soon as possible. But I'm going to stand on business. It is getting very close for the SWAC to renew that contract with the mothership ESPN. And quite frankly, you've given away the chicken coop to the fox for exposure coins. Tampa Electric don't take exposure coins. Rent can't be paid in exposure coins. Contractors to expand stadiums don't give a fuck about having their name on ESPN. It takes greed. And if you're not coming to the table, I want to be realistic. I do. You're currently paying $60,000 a year school. At this point, $300,000 per school for the season is not unrealistic. When you look at the numbers for the Florida Classic, the Orange Blossom Classic, the Celebration Bowl, the Bayou Classic, all of these games that lovely appeared on ABC, ESPN, ESPN3, or ESPN Plus, the basketball games that have appeared on the SEC Plus, the ACC network, all of these wonderful ESPN events that they are currently being underpaid for, pay them people. Pay them people. Because if you pay them people, you get a better product on the field because you're able to recruit more players, because your facilities are better, because you have greater capital. And that's the bottom line. And everybody get caught up in the fact that FAMU raised $194,000 in 2 days. They get caught up in that. They think, oh, they can do that all the time. Don't you think if they could do that all the time, they would? It is a huge undertaking to ask your entire fan base, hey, it's Saturday night. We need $100. And they show up and show out. You can't do that 15 times a year. Your fan base is going to think you're crying wolf. So, the biggest generator for all of college sports has always been football media rights contracts. Pay them people. Let's stop doing this at this point. Pay them people. Come back to the table and say, hey, we want y'all to do all this. Then it's easier to say, hey, go ahead and play in the NCAA playoffs. We'll figure out a way to make it work, making an event, and get everybody paid. That's good business. That's a good business partner. Right now, ESPN ain't a good business partner. But that's all I got for this week. TP?
I'm going to keep it short and simple. I hope everybody has goals and plans for this year and beyond. When I look at the changeover going into a new year, I always think about people having resolutions, or I'm making this change and this, that, and the other. All that sound good. But if you're not planning for success, then you're planning to fail. You have to have actual goals that are reachable and obtainable in order to, go out and pursue set goals. I just want everybody to understand that this can be your year. Make it your year. Own it. Don't let nobody tell you what you can and can't do. Next time somebody tell you you can't do something, think about it. It's probably because they can't do it. You tell them their limitations do not exist in your world. Take this life for what it is. Grind to be the best version of yourself. And don't let nobody knock you down. And if you get knocked down, don't stay down. You get back up, get back on that horse, and you keep riding. That's my time. I appreciate y'all. I hope y'all had a great new year, and I hope 2024 bring you everything that you hope it does and more.
Man, thank you everyone for coming out. Again, shout out to MEAC Mike. It takes a big man to come on the podcast and defend your position. Some of y'all need to grow some and come on the podcast. I got some things to say. But again, for myself, TP, Marlo wasn't with us today. But again, thank y'all for coming out.